The first 3 January 6 hearings have turned out to be quite the show. We found out that those around Trump didn't believe his lie of a stolen election. Trump grifted $250 million from his followers, and apparently, the reason Trump claimed he won the election was all thanks to a drunk Rudy Giuliani. According to Nielsen, at least 20 million people tuned in to watch the first night of the January 6 hearings. And just for perspective, that's on par with big television events like a Sunday Night Football game. And unsurprisingly, Fox News chose not to air the hearings. They didn't even go to commercial during the first night. I mean, can you imagine if Sean Hannity had shown the hearing and then this came up?
No more crazy people. No more stolen election talk. Yes, impeachment and 25th Amendment are real. Many people will quit.
We already knew Fox News host Brian Kilmeade, Laura Ingraham, and Sean Hannity were texting former White House Chief of Staff Mark Meadows to urge Trump to act on January 6th. So it makes sense why none of them would want their viewers to actually watch the hearings. It means that they would learn the truth for once. And speaking of truth, Trump was told by his closest friends and advisors that he lost the election.
I made it clear I did not agree with the idea of saying the election was stolen and putting out this stuff, which I told the president was bullshit.
Even Trump's own daughter Ivanka knew that he lost.
I respect Attorney General Barr, so I accepted what he was saying.
I gotta hand it to Liz Cheney in the committee. I mean, nothing cuts deeper than hearing your daughter, say under oath in front of millions that you're a loser. And despite everyone telling Trump that he lost, there was one person he could count on to tell him otherwise. A drunk Rudy Giuliani. Or just Rudy Giuliani, I guess. Apparently, everyone knew Rudy was intoxicated on election night, except for Rudy. Just listen to former campaign advisor and man trying to cosplay as Bane, Jason Miller.
Was there anyone in that conversation who, in your observation, had too much to drink?
Mayor Giuliani?
Tell me more about that. What was your observation about his potential intoxication during that discussion about what the president should say when he's addressed the nation on election night?
And the mayor was definitely intoxicated.
Rudy doesn't need anyone's help embarrassing himself. This is the same guy that was caught tucking his shirt into his pants in Borat 2, had melting hair dye on live TV, booked the Four Seasons landscaping, farted on Jenna Ellis, was on The Masked Singer, and literally married his second cousin. Yes, he married his second cousin. This is the man who urged Trump to prematurely declare victory on election night. Oh boy. Despite Trump's former campaign manager, Bill Stepien, urging Trump not to declare victory prematurely, Trump ignored him. Instead, he listened to Rudy, who was feeding Trump's paranoia and pushing him to make unsubstantiated claims about ballot harvesting, voting machine tampering, and much more. And it was those election lies that helped the Trump campaign grift $250 million from its supporters. The campaign spammed supporters with millions of fundraising emails claiming that the left-wing mob was undermining the election and urging them to fight back. These emails were more annoying than those bad luck chain emails I get from my Aunt Cheryl. Sorry, Aunt Cheryl. Trump promised his supporters that the money was going to an election defense fund. However, according to a committee investigator, there was no evidence that such a fund ever existed. Instead, most of the money went to groups supporting Trump, not to fund court battles. The January 6th committee calls this the big ripoff, but I believe a more appropriate title for this criminal activity is the big grift. Now, day 3 was off to a slow start. All jokes aside, I just want to say thank you to Judge Luttig. Leading up to January 6th, Trump was pressuring Pence publicly and privately to reverse the 2020 election. Trump even used his lawyer John Eastman to pressure Pence as well. Eastman's theory was that Pence could either reject electoral votes outright or throw it back to the state legislators to re-examine. Here's the thing though, there was no legal, constitutional, or historical basis for this. And even though Eastman knew the plan was illegal, he still went out in public and said it was legal. Pence repeatedly told Trump that he lacked the constitutional authority to do what Trump wanted. But Trump wasn't having it. He even went as far as to tell Pence he wouldn't be his friend anymore if he didn't overturn the election.
To which the president says, no, no, no. You don't understand, Mike. You can do this. I don't want to be your friend anymore if you don't do this.
Trump sounds like a 6-year-old mob boss on the playground making threats about who can and can't go to his birthday party. So on January 6th, when Pence told Trump over the phone that he would not reject the votes or delay certifying the results, Trump called Pence a wimp and a pussy. And it was Trump's anger and disappointment in Pence that Trump supporters heard loud and clear during his January 6th speech.
If Pence caved, we're gonna drag motherfuckers through the streets.
The danger to Pence was real as the mob got about 40 feet away from the vice president. And a confidential informant from the Proud Boys told the FBI that if the group would have found Pence, they probably would have killed him. Man, to be a fly in Mike Pence's head when all of this was going down? Whew. But even after the riot at the Capitol, Eastman would not take no for an answer on overturning the election. He called former White House lawyer Eric Hirschman to talk about it.
I said to him, "Are you out of your effing mind?" Right? I said, I only want to hear two words coming out of your mouth from now on. Orderly transition. And I screamed, I said, I don't want to hear any other effing words coming out of your mouth, no matter what, other than orderly transition. Repeat those words to me. And I screamed, and he said, eventually he said, orderly transition. I said, good, John. Now I'm going to give you the best free legal advice you're ever getting in your life. Get a great effing criminal defense lawyer. You're going to need it.
Hold on, what was that?
Get a great effing criminal defense lawyer. You're going to need it.
Shortly after, Eastman sent Rudy Giuliani an email saying, I've decided that I should be on the pardon list, if that is still in the works. Alright, I hope that we can all agree that anyone asking for a pardon has clearly done something wrong. So far, the first 3 hearings have confirmed that Trump knew his claims of a rigged election were not true, but he still made them anyway. And he hasn't stopped since. Trump is currently rage posting about the January 6th hearings on Truth Social. Guys, he's demanding equal time. So Trump, if you're watching this, come on down and claim your equal time. Liz Cheney and the committee would love to have you. Well, I'm Gabe Sanchez, and this has been What Was That?